What is going on YouTube? This is Jim back with another video. Thought I'd do something a little bit different today. A lot of times when I do unboxings of either collector editions or of limited edition statues, they tend to be on the pricier side. I got an email the other day from the Blizzard gear store telling me that there were some new arrivals of both Lady Sylvanas and of Jaina Proudmoore, and I was curious, and I looked into them, and I was surprised to see the price point was actually very, very reasonable. Now, they are smaller statues. They are only 6-inch statues. A lot of times the stuff that I get is at least 10 or 11 inches tall. Most of the collector edition things I have very snugly fit in my IKEA cube, which is a 12-inch by 12-inch area. These would absolutely fit in that. They are smaller, but I think they're cool, and I thought it would be fun to look at something a little bit different today. So first up is the Sylvanas World of Warcraft D-Stage Battle for Azeroth 6-inch statue. This is a special event item, so this will not be around forever. The reality is a lot of these statues do have some sort of limited run to them, and then they do expire. So that doesn't surprise me. The fact that Blizzard has decided to kind of take a slightly different approach when you look at their gear store, just taking a step back here and going to their gear store, a lot of the things you see are very expensive. You know, they're in the $200+ price range. Now, this is an 18-inch premium statue, very different pose, very distinct base, lots of attention to detail. Not to say that this one isn't, but it's definitely more of a budget item. But that doesn't make it a bad item. My desk, as I sit here, I'm looking at my monitor, is littered with cute but deadlies. I have easily over a dozen of them. And they were all relatively inexpensive, but they really fit that purpose. And I feel like something like this would go great on my desk. So I've been considering buying one of these, and I thought it'd be fun to look at them together with you today. So these are by Beast Kingdom, and it gives you a brief little description of the character. I would expect that most people who are shopping on the Blizzard store are relatively aware of World of Warcraft, particularly the Battle of Azeroth, and even more specifically, who is Lady Sylvanas. So this statue, it's a 6-inch statue. It comes already with a base that has the World of Warcraft Battle of Azeroth on the bottom. Here you can see it looks to be like a plume of smoke almost, with her kind of rising out of it. You could see some attention to detail on her hands that have kind of like a mist look to them. The only thing I could criticize on this particular piece is that her bow is not prominently featured. You could see her quiver here, and that's something that Sylvanas is absolutely known for, is definitely her bow and her arrow. Really nice attention to detail on her face, the hood, you know, the strap, all that kind of stuff looks really, really good. I like it. I think it definitely looks really, really well. I like the fact that it does kind of come with a base. I don't know how I particularly feel about the branding Battle for Azeroth on it. I think a lot of collectors will maybe look back at Battle of Azeroth fondly. I can say that there have been a lot of World of Warcraft expansions that have come out in the past few years that I have not been particularly thrilled about. I think we can all universally agree that Wrath of the Lich King is the best, right? I wouldn't mind seeing that logo again. I just don't know if Battle for Azeroth is something that we're going to remember fondly in a few years. We may not. So I thought this was a really cool item. I thought I would show this particular one off. But if you are not like me and you're not for the Horde, first of all, what's wrong with you? But that's okay. They've thought of these things, and they've released Jaina Proudmoore. So Jaina Proudmoore, definitely very instrumental right now in the battle for Azeroth. Her statue, very, very different in the sense that she is almost not the focal point, which is very, very interesting. So if you know anything about Jaina, you know that she is always being accompanied by a water elemental. I wouldn't say always, but that's kind of like one of her main attacks. She's got a really cool kind of creature that is summoned to fight for her. If you've played Heroes of the Storm, you know that the Water Elemental can be one of her ultimate abilities. It's in the game as a summonable character to help you out when you're battling. The Water Elemental is definitely, to me, more of the focal point of this statue. I like how it kind of wraps around her. Unlike Sylvanas, where they have this plume of smoke and she's just kind of plopped on top of it, I feel like with this statue, Blizzard took a little bit more time and care to really envelop the scene a little bit more. Having Jaina with this thing so close, I mean, basically she's under this thing's armpit, essentially, really gives a sense of scale of how powerful this thing is and how manipulative she is of the elements. Here with Sylvanas, I think if you just had this on a shelf and nobody knew anything about World of Warcraft and they saw this, they would probably suspect, you know, that she is some sort of like smoke monster or something along those lines. But this isn't nearly as menacing to me as something like this. I think this is way cooler. She has her weapon, that's her staff, that's sticking out really prominently, way outside the bounds of the regular figure. As we're going back to Sylvanas, it's definitely much more cylindrical. There's really not a lot of exaggeration. That's why I picked on her for not having her trademark bow really ready in center. I feel like that was a major misstep on that design. That said, I think they both have some nice nice features to them. I can't say one. To me, Jaina is definitely nicer than Sylvanas, so I'm not going to argue that. But I don't think having Sylvanas in and of itself is a bad thing. And then you could have a little bit more attention to detail here on the back. You could see, again, how this thing wraps around. Nice attention to detail to her boots and her cloak in the back. And even the Water Elemental, you can see a little bit more of his our pauldrons and kind of some of the attention to detail on how he comes together. Or she, I guess. Always assumed a Water Elemental was a dude. I could be wrong. So both of these stand 6 inches tall from bottom to top. So keep that in mind. They're definitely going to be smaller. And this base definitely is going to bite into... Gosh, this thing is pretty sensitive today. This base is definitely going to bite into some of that design. Again, I'm not particularly in love with the fact that it says World of Warcraft, Battle of Azeroth on the base. You guys know I'm pretty particular about the bases of my statues. One other thing, since we're on the compare and contrast, looking at Sylvanas dead on, she's looking directly at you with the World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth placard front and center in the screen. Jumping back over to the Jaina statue, she's looking away, and not only that, but the frost element, the water elemental, he is also looking away as well. I think this makes it a much more natural and artistic pose. Having a statue or any sort of figurine where the character is staring at you dead on without any sort of action phase or any sort of unique posing, to me, diminishes the quality somewhat. I feel like having them off-centered, even little things like that, even the fact that she's not exactly center of the pedestal and, you know, she's kind of off to one side, I think those attentions to detail really do set this apart from other statues. And even though it is a little bit smaller in size, I think that this definitely does have a very nice sense of premium quality wrapped around it. So if you're interested in these, check it out on the website. They're doing a promotion right now that if you can get orders over $49, they're going to give you a discount. There's a code. They typically do things with free shipping or discounted shipping. I suspect right now most stores are willing, I'm going to say work with you, like you can call them and haggle, but they're definitely trying to give more promotional material and more promotional sales right now to kind of reap in some of the revenue from the fact that most of us are locked at home with not a whole lot to do other than browse websites. So if you like either of these, check them out. They definitely have some other interesting stuff that I didn't particularly highlight here, but I thought that these were definitely worth mentioning because it's cool. And, you know, Blizzard has definitely withstood the test of time. I haven't done a video on them lately, but I have seen, at least in my circle of friends, a significant resurgence on Blizzard products and on, you know, interest in games like Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch and in Hearthstone. I'm not here to say that by any means we should forget all the nonsense that we went through the last few years, but I think Blizzard is uniquely positioned with the potential release of Diablo 4, the fact that E3 has been canceled, and all these other things to definitely maybe make a strong appearance this year. If they decide to do a BlizzCon later this year, I think you could start to see them definitely on the uptick. And I think premium products like this definitely help out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and this quick look at the statues. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about these types of reviews, and let me know specifically what you think about these two figures. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. All that good stuff. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.